Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Today's Money Masters. I'm your host, Jean-Paul Menu. The Today's Money Masters competition comprises 3 professional investors and a novice, each provided with $500,000 to invest. The participants have invested in stocks, bonds, and collective investment schemes over this past year. At the end of this period, the top portfolio manager will be declared. So let's continue with the masters on this very exciting journey. Welcome back. On today's program, we are joined by Richard Longmore. He is the General Manager of the Jamaica Racing Commission. Richard, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Good, good. Welcome back to the program. We haven't spoken to you in a while, so it's nice to see you. I see that you have moved up in the competition standings. And so before we get into any of those specific details, I wanted to gauge a couple of things with you. The Jamaican economy, Richard, is expected to contract by 5.1% for this fiscal year. That's what they're saying. How do you see this impacting the country and the stock market?
Well, first and foremost, I think that what's happening, it's happening on a global level. So it's fair to say that there's no economy in the world right now that will not contract during this period. As such, what we see happening here in Jamaica is not of a great surprise to me. From as early as the concern that I have is wherein our main income earners as relates to inflows from tourism and remittances. I think that is going to take a significant hit. We see where both tourism and remittances accounts for 20 to 15% respectively of our GDP. And naturally, with the hotels being closed, as well as borders being closed, we see where that is going to have significant impact on our economy.
Sure. And there is talk by the end of May, beginning of June, about reopening tourism, at least on a smaller scale. Some of the flights will be coming in, etc., which we're going to have to keep an eye on, right?
That's very critical because we can't lay down and play that. I think the government of Jamaica is responsive, while at the same time maintaining a great deal of caution. We think that with the slow opening of the economy, not only will we see more stability, but more so based on how well we manage or how well the COVID-19 going to proceed from here, then we will start to see some form of growth within the economy. If you look at the recent IMF figures, IMF actually did predict a 3 to 5% contraction for Jamaica, but I think it's important to note that the IMF also says by ending up this year to first quarter next year, they're actually projecting growth for the Jamaican economy. And that is mainly as a result of the strong monetary and fiscal policies that Jamaica has put in place. Most economies, they did not meet the COVID-19 with a strong financial structure as with Jamaica.
Okay.
Wherein prior to COVID-19, our economy was actually very healthy. We had very good surpluses, and I think that for one is allowing us to not feel the full impact.
Okay, so we went in a better position than a lot of other places, and so you think we're going to come out of this possibly not as badly off as some of the other places, eh?
COVID, the aggressive nature of COVID really started about March, and March, April, we went in with cash resources over 3% of GDP. Okay. So much so that the government of Jamaica, we are able to use our cash resources to help bolster the programs that we have implemented throughout this ordeal. as you are aware, the Jamaican government has been doing a lot in terms of our care packages, wherein we assist the less fortunate, the vulnerable, business places, and several payments have been made. And all these have come as a result of savings and the surpluses that we had in our reserves.
Okay, all right. Richard, 41% of your money is in the TransJam Highway stock. Why do you regard, tell our viewers, our listeners, why do you regard TransJam Highway as such a gem? What's your insight there?
Well, a disclaimer, 41% is a bit extreme. It's not good to have that much in one stock, but based on the nature of this competition, we have to be aggressive. And as you know, we're coming to the end of the competition. I did my analysis with TransJamaica, and more so I use past trends, wherein the most of our IPOs, our recent IPOs, they have significantly increased in value upon listing. You'll see where in November, December, I made an aggressive move. I made a similar aggressive move with Mailpack. And when Mailpack opened, within a couple of days, they appreciated over 50% immediately.
Right.
Now, TransJamaica, in my mind, having been a large and really the largest IPO listing in the history of Jamaica, I thought that that was a very good start. And based on the responses, on February 17, 2020, it opened and it closed March 2nd, 2020, and it was oversubscribed by 130%. Oversubscribed.
Okay.
And did note the date of March 2nd, 2020. That's COVID-19, right? So for a stock to be oversubscribed in the middle of one of the worst crises that we have seen over the past 4 decades, it says a lot. It speaks to the trust that the Jamaican economy have on the stock. And as such, I went all out with it, and I have no regrets. Unfortunately, COVID put a damper on things, but as I had expected, the TransJamaica Highway have remained reasonably stable over that significant crisis period. It must be noted also that the majority of our stocks, some 90% of our stocks, have seen decline in the region of 10 to 30% easily. Because as you'd imagine, all world markets are down, all stock markets are down now.
Yes.
So the average stock would have lost its value. Yes, so the average stock would have lost its value. However, based on the aggressive nature which I made with TransJamaica, I'm confident where it is now, and it has not lost much in value, and it has remained stable. Not losing anything is better than losing much.
Sure. Okay. So right. So compared with the other stocks, it's a stronger. It remains to be a strong stock, especially for you in your portfolio.
Correct. And to be specific, when it hit the market at $1.41, and to date, as we speak, it's $1.40. So basically, the same price range. And for my portfolio to have 40% within that one stock that has remained stable, it has been a plus for me. It has been a benefit for me because, as I mentioned earlier, the majority of stock markets, the majority of stocks, all funds within the region have dropped by double digits.
Right, right. So you're doing pretty well in the competition so far. We had discussed before coming on the air. We had discussed that you're second in the rankings at this point.
Yes. But I don't know if that's pretty well because we're a bit disappointed. We're as competitors, we're all disappointed that the market has basically have a downturn and
Right,
it all has affected us. It's just a matter of who right now. It's just a matter of who has minimized their losses
right,
at a bare minimum.
right. And the timing of this whole COVID thing in our competition has not been a good one. We can all agree to that. Eh?
Correct, correct, correct. Make no mistake about it. All major companies right now are losing billions of dollars in terms of stock value. And we don't have to start talking about the world billionaire. One day trading and they're down $20 billion, $30 billion just by the value of that. We see that happening with Apple, Google, and all these major companies.
Mm-hmm.
But I want the listeners to remember that the stock market is not a short-term investment. It's medium to long-term, and more so long-term. So what is happening now is not surprising. We expected this to happen, and we are confident that in the coming months, reasonable within 12 months, we'll see a significant rebound to where market levels should be. So history has shown markets go down, the wave, up and down wave. And right now we're expecting that downturn. And for those who actually have the cash flow, now is actually the best time to buy because all stocks are below their real value currently.
Okay, all right. Well, that's a good tip coming from our novice this week. Richard, do you believe investors should be concerned about the tension between the United States and China?
Well, any form of tension with two global superpowers, being China and the US, is a reason for concern, particularly as it relates to the US being Jamaica's biggest trade partner. And simultaneously, we see where China, over the last 5 years, have been the major or one of the leading investors in Jamaica. They have done a lot in terms of building our roadways. They funded $730 million US dollars for the North-South Highway. Our Prime Minister recently negotiated a new highway for the St. Thomas leg, where that is some 384 million US dollars. And again, this is straight from China. So for China and the US to be not seen eye to eye, it's going to affect many countries, and
Right.
it's something that we don't want to continue. Hopefully they can come to some resolution. And
Right.
as you'd imagine, the main war is as a result of just tariffs on goods and services. So US is hitting China with tariffs and China hits back also with tariffs and taxes.
Right, right. But as we keep on saying on this program, as the saying goes, when the United States sneezes, is it? Jamaica catches a cold. So we're very much dependent on them.
And I think you should say China. When China sneezes, we catch something too. We'll probably catch COVID.
But let's not put our goat mouths on that one. All right, Richard, we're gonna leave it there. Any final thoughts on the competition so far as we're coming to our close?
Well, I just like to say the competition has been a very good experience, and I think for the most part, challenges are good. And I think this whole COVID-19 experience, it shows us what life is all about. There will be bumps. Things are not easy. And I think the important lesson to take away is that the stock market is not a get-rich-quick scheme.
Right.
And the COVID-19 shows that. So the smart investors will see this COVID-19 and not make any movements on their stock. They'll ride through the wave. They'll have trust in the government of Jamaica structural programs and realize that we will come out of this better within the long run.
Nice. All right. And as the novice in the competition, I want to congratulate you for your staying power in the competition. and we'll see how things wrap up in the coming weeks, right?
Looking forward to it. Looking forward to it.
All right. Thank you very much, Richard Longmore. Appreciate you. Thanks for taking the time to speak with us today. And that's going to do it for today's program. Join us next week, same time, for another exciting episode of the Masters Competition. Follow the pros and the one novice each week on the Masters Competition. Listen and analyze the strategies with the Masters on Radio Jamaica, Thursdays at 8:45 a.m. as they challenge each other to stay ahead. Also look out for their portfolios in the Gleaner. The Masters Competition is a product of Today's Money Limited, Incorporated, brought to you in partnership with NCB Capital Markets Limited, Money Masters Limited, and Proven Wealth. I'm Jean-Paul Manu. The Masters Competition is another fine product from Today's Money Limited.